Good to go.
Coach Krause and Coach Robinson coming to you live with the one and only Vicky Mouse, Vicky Vortex, Vicky Inside Trip, Anthony. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm living well.
And before we get started, I'm going to go down your bio briefly. And I say briefly because it's like 8 pages long. All right. For those of you who have been living under a rock for the last decade and haven't seen Victoria Anthony wrestle, we got career highlights. 5th at the 2013 World Championships, 2009-2010 Junior World Champion, 2015-2017 U.S. Open Champion, 2nd in 13-15 U.S. Team Trials, 2nd at 2012-2014 U.S. Open. There's a good one here. 2015-2016 Dave Schultz Memorial International Champion. It goes on and on, all the way down to, I think another great one is your 4-time college champion. Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And along the way, as I've been watching your videos and your inside trip, talk about your walk through wrestling, how you started, and some of your inspirational coaches.
Yeah, for sure. My journey in wrestling really started way before wrestling because I started with judo when I was 6 years old. And I did that until I got to high school, and I had an injury from judo, so I wasn't doing any sports. And then I really just started wrestling because I saw a high school wrestling demonstration, and I was in PE class watching it. And I was like, okay, if I join the wrestling team, I'm going to get out of PE, so no brainer all the way.
Yeah, I love it. And so you're from California, correct?
Yes.
And so was women's wrestling actually sanctioned back then? Because I had a lot of camps in California, and a lot of girls wrestle like 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was still, in comparison at the time, there were a lot of girls wrestling in California, but it was not sanctioned, which in some ways I'm grateful for that because I think it really added to my personal development, wrestling the boys and having to go through that grind and that it was just tough and I really learned to compete. I mean, of course, it would have been the same with women's wrestling, but just for me personally, I appreciate that. But I also am really grateful for the sanctioning of women's wrestling in California now.
Yeah, fantastic. And how was there any other girls on the team back in high school? Or were you the only one, or?
Yeah, there were 2 girls. There was one girl that didn't really have a feel for wrestling. We'll just leave it at that. And then the second girl tried to bully me off the team. I was like, oh great, there's 2 girls. I was so scared to join the team. I was like, I knew I was gonna do it, but it still took me 2 weeks from when I saw that demonstration to actually go into the wrestling room and be like, okay, I want to do this and sign up. Just because I was scared and I was nervous and it wasn't normal, obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you were, I think, to my knowledge, when you started wrestling in high school, it was just becoming. There was handfuls of girls in every state. And back when I was wrestling, there was one girl. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, there's a girl wrestler." But so it wasn't too different. But it was still talk about some ups and downs if you had any. So if any other girls or wrestlers in general are having tough times, what you went through and how you handled it.
To be honest, I feel like my biggest ups and downs were the ups and downs that every wrestler experiences, but it's like what you need to be the person. Like I truly believe like I'm a confident person today because of, everything that wrestling has taught me and given me, especially during those high school days, because wrestling's such an uncomfortable time, especially, I mean, I don't know how it is for boys, but for girls, it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? You're like going puberty, doing all these things. And it's just like, you can be so self-conscious. And especially, I know there's a lot of girls that still have to join a boys wrestling team today. And that can be, probably the biggest thing I had to overcome was how self-conscious it made me. I was self-conscious in the wrestling room because I'm surrounded by a bunch of dudes and I'm like, I don't necessarily quote unquote belong here. I know I have my figure, but it's it was uncomfortable because of that. And then outside in the school, I also felt self-conscious because I was now the girl on the boys wrestling team, and it was just a strange place to be. So my overcoming that, though, dealing with that, it was so valuable because like anything that would make me self-conscious today just doesn't, it's nothing now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
go ahead. Let me ask you this. Do you think the development now is better now that they do have sanctioned female wrestling tournaments, or would you think it's better for girls to go through what you went through?
I do 100% think it's better because wrestling is so valuable outside of that struggle in itself was really valuable, but wrestling as a sport, as a grind is so valuable to any person that does it because of the discipline you learn, because you learn to overcome obstacles, because you learn to lose and then, get back on the horse, all that. And I think it's extremely valuable that it's sanctioned because a lot of girls would never join the boys wrestling team. I did it because I had judo background, but a lot of not any, but a lot of girls will join a girls wrestling team. So it allows this sport to spread like wildfire, and so many more girls and 14-year-old girls need the sport of women's wrestling because it teaches you things. It teaches you self-confidence. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you everything that everybody gets out of the sport that allows you to be, successful in life beyond wrestling comes from it. So the sanctioning allows that to hit way more people.
That's fantastic. I have two daughters, 16 and 12, and I asked them to wrestle. No way, Dad, no way. And I'm like, come on, man, I'm a coach. All right. So you've been all over the world. Talk about your experiences traveling abroad and some fun stories or some fun matches you had. I'm sure you got a million stories, but what sticks out in your mind traveling to pretty much everywhere, right? Everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. You know what? My favorite places in the world are in like non-traditional, somewhat non-traditional wrestling communities. But like one of the biggest joys I've gotten is being able to bring wrestling into those communities or teach high-level wrestling, high-level technique. For example, one of my favorite memories forever was doing a clinic in Vietnam, and I'm in Vietnam, and it was set up within like a week. I was there on my own, and I was like, let me reach out and see if there's a wrestling community that would want to I'll do a clinic for. And within 1 week, they put together. I get there on the weekend, and they have like over 100 wrestlers and over 40 coaches. I'm like, there's what?
Boom.
Yes.
Showtime.
Yes, exactly. And they were so grateful and so attentive. Like, I feel like just a lot of times at clinics, I'm like trying to get people to pay attention, and it was silent. Like everyone's in. It was just so beautiful to be able to, especially a culture that's so different.
Right. And I call me crazy, but they don't speak English, do they?
No, most did not. There was like a couple of kids, like one.
How'd you do it? Like just show stuff and like,
Yeah, I mean, literally just show stuff. There was, like that. And there was one translator, but even he wasn't really like, because he didn't seem to really know wrestling. So that was kind of a mess. But when I pretty much stopped using words and just demonstrated wrestling motions, it was completely fine, which was one of the coolest parts because we were able to communicate wrestling.
I've seen some videos of you doing clinics and camps. The kids must love you. And I've seen you rip your inside trip. Where'd you get who helped you with that inside trip? Because it's nasty.
Thank you so much. Well, it's judo. It's from judo. Judo, it's called Otari. Yeah, and it's like called inside leg reap. Yeah. So judo, I use my feet a lot in my wrestling because of judo. So all of my sweeps and trips. I actually someone just sent me a video, and it was a match from 8 years ago when I foot swept the girl, and I was like, I thought Elena Pereshkova taught me my foot sweep, but I was doing it for so long.
Yeah, you already had it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all judo.
All right, let's talk about some of your most memorable matches, some big time matches, some big time wins, some big time matches.
For sure. Probably the one that sticks out in my own memory for myself personally was beating Clarissa Chun in the 2013 US Nationals.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever beat her, and I just
in the semis.
In the semis. And I did and still do look up to her so much. She's like one of the biggest stars to me in wrestling. For her technique. Like I feel like we have similar styles, and I love Clarissa. So to be able to, and I was losing the match. And when I remember going into the match and thinking like, okay, I have this. Like it's finally time. Like I can do this. And then I'm now at 15 seconds left in the match, and I'm like, I thought we were doing this time, and I'm losing. So, with giving it everything I have, able to pull off a headlock in the last 15, it was just that was great for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know Clarissa. She's a fun person from Hawaii. She's cool. So from that right there, are the girls? You guys are probably all pretty close. All the world team members, all you Olympic caliber women. You guys are all pretty close friends, aren't you? For the most part.
Yes and no. Like, of course, we definitely are extremely close, but then there's also we're also competing for our livelihood. So
right, right. All right, so talk about where you're training right now. You're in Tempe. Are you with Zeke and those guys?
I'm not in Tempe. I'm actually in Calgary, in Canada now.
There you go. Got to change your bio.
Yeah, they do. That's true. I moved less than a year ago. I moved in October. And there was a bunch of different reasons for the move. Mainly, there really were so many reasons, but I just felt like I got down on paper everything I need to be Olympic champion, and I realized there were certain things I was lacking. Like one, I felt like I needed, you know, a coach that could travel with me to competitions. The women's team has to travel so much because, you know, we're like, we have a lot of high level girls, but we have to travel to find more, you know, more partners basically in my
Right.
and get into
So,
camps. We do a lot of international camp.
so who's out there in Canada you're working out with? Canadians or is it,
Yeah,
obviously?
Canadians. So our head coach is Paul Ragusa, and
Okay.
I love him, and he's trained multiple Olympic champions. And one other thing that I felt like I personally needed was to get around more more women that have done it, have achieved what I wanted to achieve. And Calgary
Right.
Olympic champions in the room with Erica Weave and Carol Wynn. And Carol Wynn won Olympics at my weight, so it's like, and she wrestles with me, and she's also someone like Carol, you're the most amazing person. She's so kind and just so good at wrestling. So
I love it. I love.
Let me ask you this, Victoria. How does the USA girls feel about you training in Canada?
I honestly don't know, but this isn't the first time I've done this. I actually, when I graduated high school, I was looking for, you know, where I wanted to go to school. And personally, the US just wasn't, none of the schools appealed to me. They were just small schools, like smaller than my high school. And I didn't want to go from a 3,000 kid high school in California. I'm used to like bigger cities to a small town. Couldn't do it. So my first time living in Canada was my undergraduate degree and my undergraduate college experience. And that was for 4 years. And now, and since then, a ton of girls, like, and I called that first year, I called Helen Marula. I'm like, Helen, you have to come here. It's amazing. And so then she moved up to Canada and, you know, came to school at Simon Fraser. And now there's multiple women on the U.S. national team in Vancouver: Mallory Velty, Dawn Parrish, Alex Hendricks. And so it's pretty normal. I'm the first American to be living in, you know, Calgary, but I couldn't say. I don't know how to feel about it.
I can sense your Canadian accent, eh?
Oh no, I know, it's probably true. Yeah, things sound like questions that aren't questions.
Yeah, so funny. Okay, all right. So what are your goals? Like, say, after wrestling, are you gonna be coaching? Are you gonna be an accountant? What do you think you're gonna be? Where are you gonna be in 10 years?
Gotcha. I got a plan. So
Okay.
my short-term 5-year plan. I'm highly considering fighting after. It's really hard just for me to say yes or no on it, just because I've never been in a fight in my life. But I've always wanted to be. I just love martial arts, and it would be full circle for me to go back to martial arts, because I also trained some jiu-jitsu before I started wrestling, and I just love it.
So you're talking kind of fast. You're gonna go into acting?
Oh, sorry, fighting.
Fighting.
Really? Nice.
Oh, my bad. You guys, let me slow down.
Oh, no. That's awesome. That's great. In fact, I train jiu-jitsu a little bit. I love jiu-jitsu. It's a whole new level of trying to bend my arms off instead of just pin me, you know? That's perfect. Yeah, I think you'll have your success there. That's awesome.
Yeah, Victoria, have you boxed before?
I have not. I mean, maybe for like 3 months when I was younger, when I was in middle school. I just did like a little bit of boxing, but no, I don't have any stand up.
All right. Are you already talking to I don't know, any of the big leagues?
Yeah, agents, not necessarily like UFC or Bellator, but agents reach out to me all the time, and a couple of, you know, constant communication. So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, let's talk about the video that I just watched today with you and all these world champions.
Great video. Cool. Great video.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier before you came out here, but to me, it's like, all right, you guys are sitting there, you know, no makeup on, you got your singlets on, you're looking tough as nails. You put the shoe in the camera, you pull back, and you're glamorous. I mean, the message I'm getting from that is, you guys can be tough as nails on a mat and still be beautiful women off the mat. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. And there's just, I think there's a lot that comes with being a female combat sport athlete. And for one, it's amazing. Like, and one thing that I really am making my mission in life is just to get combat sport women onto the front pages of things, and, you know, in front and center, because what is more gangster than a girl that is literally such a savage? All of my colleagues, all of my, you know, everyone that I know that wrestles at the highest level in this sport, they're just so amazing. They're such amazing people. They have so much power. They have so much discipline, all these things. And then they're so beautiful, and they have so much femininity, and the contrast is cool, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. Total thumbs up in that video. It's pretty inspirational.
Whose idea was it for the video?
So Cynthia Veskin from France, who's an Olympian, multiple time world medalist, European medalist. She's like becoming one of my best friends because of this video. We talk every day. So she asked me to do it, and then she was like, "Can you do the intro? Can you do the outro?" And then now I'm pushing it, of course.
Yeah, who is the girl? Who is the girl that the shoe dropped on her head and she caught it?
That's one of my best friends, Danielle Lappage. So she's a world silver medalist for Canada. She lives here.
That was funny. You can tell she's funny.
Good, right?
All right, how about this one? This is maybe an off-the-wall question, but I know when you girls all go out, and I know that women wrestlers are probably rap like men wrestlers, a little different. You know what I'm saying? You know, a little crazier / intense. Do you guys ever go out like in these foreign cities or together? And you're all looking done up, and you know, some people roll up on you and they ask, "What do you girls do?" And you drop the bomb on them. You're Olympic caliber wrestlers.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We almost try. I mean, I try to avoid that conversation because it's like, oh my God,
what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're like so jacked that it's an impossible conversation to avoid.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome. All right. I guess one more question or a couple more questions. Coach Robs, you can jump in. But what advice would you give yourself just out of college that you might want to change, if anything, for that matter? You seem like you're doing a great timeline in your life, but what would you give yourself advice back in, say, 2014?
For me, I would definitely tell myself that just to be very specific with my goals and my intentions within the sport and outside of the sport way earlier. Like get it all down on paper to a T, pretty much, right? And then to dream as big as possible in doing this. So the thing that is most important in my life right now that I feel like it's guiding me and just gives me so much, like new and amazing things are happening in my life every day because I'm so intentional with everything that I do, and I don't leave anything up to chance anymore. I tell myself what I'm going to do. I know I have it mapped out. I repeat it to myself, and it's just so ingrained that it's like this. My life couldn't turn out any other way. I won't allow for it. So I just wish I started doing that earlier in life.
Man, hey, dream so big they laugh at them.
Yes, exactly, and it's okay. And then in that process, it's like there are, for sure, it's been like scary to write certain things down. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but it's like you don't have to know the way. You just have to write it down, start to put yourself in that direction, and you will change your subconscious over time. And that's just the process.
I love it, man. I love it.
Nice. I got good things for you. How do you think we can get more female wrestlers out for high school wrestling and some of the states that have it? I know a couple coaches wanted me to ask you that question that I know.
We gotta have Victoria Anthony do more camps and clinics.
There you go.
For sure. That's a great question. Personally, like what I see and think is best is to think about all the things that a girl is, and a girl, wants to be feminine. I mean, of course not everyone, but like when I reflect on myself as a younger girl and the things that would deter me from wrestling and the things that drew me in, it's like it was really a struggle to want to be feminine and want to, to have this side of me, and then play to this other side of me that also exists. And it's like, I think the combining of those two things is what personally what I'm focusing on in my message. And so maybe, not pushing it, but just like showing girls these things on social media and different, like that there's different ways. Everyone has the right to be whoever they want to be. And just, showing girls that are already doing it on a different level. And one thing I really like about women's wrestling too, not everyone is interested in the things that I'm interested in, but it's so diverse because women have gone into the sport in so many different ways that we have somebody for everybody,
Right.
So it's amazing in that way, and everyone should have a role model that's like them. And I'm not going to be everybody's model, but there is someone for everyone, and it's like playing that, I think.
I have one more for you for Coach Kraus. Get on there. What do you think about the online training center, the virtual training?
Oh, I think it's so dope. First of all, this is a crazy time right now. And it's so amazing that we have such creative people in the sport of wrestling that were willing to do this and then put all the effort behind it. And yeah, now everybody has access to a coach. Everybody has access to a mentor. And within that community, our online coaching community, there's somebody for everybody. So many different types of wrestlers, different types of people, men and women, that you'll find what you're looking for.
Nice. Thank you.
That's awesome. Hey, so Victoria, if someone wants to get a hold of you to do a camp or clinic, and I'll tell anybody out there watching this, Yeah, just like I say about the other girls that I work with, you're not just a women's coach, you're anybody's coach. But if someone wants to book you for a camp or clinic, how do they get a hold of you?
My email is a good way, which is victoriaanthonygold@gmail.com. And then otherwise it's just my Instagram by DM is great because that's the only social media platform I really use. So any other would miss. I wouldn't see it.
You don't use Vicky Mouse or Vicky Vortex?
Victoria Vortex on Instagram. I guess I should say the name Victoria Vortex on Instagram.
Yeah. All right, so I gotta say this about your technique. Your technique is seriously sick. I'm not saying just for women's sake, the technique in general. You're quick, you're fast, your quick twitch is unmatched. Your inside trip, of course, is world class. But I think the best thing about you is your left-handed collar tie from space. Just karate chopping head. I mean, you're physical. You're physical. Yeah. Where'd you get that? That's just in you from the judo stuff? I mean, because you really do bring some.
Yeah, actually, no, it's not. I believe Angel Cejudo was who got me started on, that backhand collar tie. And then also Heisman Garcia. He's a Cuban-Canadian wrestler, which is amazing. Heisman was in Canada when I was doing my undergrad. So I got to know him there and some of his wrestling. But then when I was in Arizona, he was in Arizona. And his hands are so heavy.
Yeah.
He just exhausts people, wears them down with his hand fighting. So that came from him. And then also a lot of Angel stuff is from using that backhand collar tie. So yeah, actually I'll say Heisman / Angel.
Nice. I saw you hit it. I saw you an inside trip. Your head was to the opposite side. The girl stepped out and you threw her with the arm throw. I'm talking chain wrestling to the T right there.
That's probably one of my favorite things I've done in wrestling. And it was my favorite because it's just like being myself. I've never drilled that. That wasn't something I had been drilling. It just was open. So.
It just happened. You just felt it, ripped it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I can't let you wrap it up, but I guess we'll end it with some more advice because I really think you're inspirational. I really think that any young lady or even any young wrestler for that matter, watching you speak and say, I want to be like her. What advice do you have for them? And now it's a far shot, but to be like you, I'm saying to get to your level, what would you say to them? What do they got to do?
For starters, I would say that they all need to have it in their minds right now that they can be like me and they can be better. They can do anything. Every person on this planet can do anything when they start to really believe it. And with that, I would say the best thing that anyone can do for themselves is to set their intentions and set them extremely high, and then just carry gratitude through everything that they do, because I think gratitude is what has allowed me to be such a resilient person. Resiliency is something I think I have like the most of, and it's because no matter what, I know every experience is teaching me something, and when you're able to wrap the intention and gratitude together, like your life is boundless. So I would start there.
All right, I got a little drill that I do. When I say who's tired, say not me. Who's tired?
Not
me.
Who's tired?
Not me.
Never admit it. Yeah, man, Victoria. Gosh darn it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Coach Robertson, you got any closing comments for her?
Nope. I just appreciate both of your time coming in, and thank you for sparing us your time.
Thank you, guys.
Right, good luck on your next competition, and good luck if we ever do the Olympics again.
Right.
I'm hoping for next year. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye, Victoria.